You're seeing the headlines everywhere. A new trade war is erupting over electric vehicles. The European Union is hitting Chinese-made EVs with tariffs as high as 40%. The United States has already built what they call a 100% tariff fortress. The news cycle is completely filled with these stories. It's BYD versus Volkswagen. It's Tesla versus the world. It's a high-stakes drama playing out on the global stage. But what if I told you none of that really matters? What if this entire noisy political fight over tariffs is just a shiny object? A distraction? What if the politicians are arguing about the final score of a game that was already decided years ago? As a materials analyst who has watched this field for 30 years, I'm here to tell you, the war is not about the car. The war is not even about the finished battery. The real war, the one for the entire EV supply chain dominance, was already won by China 5 years ago. Today, we're not going to talk about the sideshow. We're not going to waste time on the political theater. We are going to pull back the curtain and show you how the world actually works. I will show you the real battlefield. It's not in the car dealerships you see on the highway. It's in the quiet, complex, and often dirty chemical refineries and deep in the minds of countries most people have never thought about. And I will explain, step by step, how China executed one of the most brilliant, patient, and ruthless industrial strategies of the 21st century, all while the West was completely and arrogantly asleep at the wheel. The myth, the war you are told to see. First, let's talk about the myth. This is the story you are being sold. It's the narrative that politicians and the media want you to focus on. The myth is that this is a war of car versus car. It's the advanced BYD blade battery versus the latest German engineering. It's about CATL dominance and the fear of their massive new battery factories popping up in Germany and Hungary, right in Europe's industrial heartland. When European politicians see ships full of Chinese-made EVs arriving at their ports, they panic. You heard it in the original analysis. They are terrified of losing their home turf. Their entire industrial identity, built for a century on the automobile, is under direct threat. So what is their response? Their response is tariffs. Their response is anti-subsidy investigations. Their response is to build a wall. They think that if they can just stop the final product, that finished car or that finished battery, that they can win. They think they are protecting their auto industry. They believe they are saving jobs. But this is where they are fundamentally and dangerously wrong. Fighting CATL or BYD today is like trying to fight a soldier on the front line without realizing that the enemy controls the entire food, water, and ammunition supply line for your entire army. It's a desperate, short-sighted, and losing battle. To understand the real war, to see the real battlefield, you have to stop looking at the shiny finished car. You have to look inside the batter. The truth, the real battlefield. This is the core of the entire issue. This is the 130% value that the headlines and the politicians always miss. You can't bake a cake without flour, sugar, and eggs. It's a simple fact. It's a fact that anyone who runs a farm, a small business, or a household in America or Canada understands intuitively. You can't make a product if you don't have the base ingredients. An EV battery is no different. You cannot build a single, modern, high-performance battery without 3 critical, non-negotiable ingredients: lithium, cobalt, and graphite. And over the last 15 years, China has methodically, strategically, and quietly secured a choke point control over all 3. Not just digging them up, but processing them. Let's look at the data. This is the truth. Number 1, lithium. This is the sugar of the battery. It provides the energy. The myth is that Australia and Chile are the kings of lithium, and it's true, they mine most of it. They dig the raw ore, the spodumene, out of the ground. But you cannot dump raw lithium ore into a battery. It's useless. It has to be processed. It has to be refined into battery-grade lithium hydroxide or lithium carbonate. This is a complex, dirty, and difficult chemical process. And here is the truth from the International Energy Agency's 2025 report. Lithium processing China is the real story. China controls 65% of the world's entire lithium refining capacity. Let that sink in. Australia digs it up and then ships it straight to China to be processed. China sits in the middle as the gatekeeper and controls the entire flow. Number 2, cobalt. This is the eggs of the battery. It provides stability and power, preventing the battery from catching fire. The world's supply is concentrated in one volatile place, the Democratic Republic of Congo. But over the last decade, Chinese companies, backed by massive state loans, have systemically bought up the largest, highest-grade mines in the Congo. The result? The 2025 IEA data shows China refines 77% of the world's cobalt supply. Again, they control the choke point. Number 3, graphite. This is the flower. And this is the hidden ace. This is the one nobody talks about, and it's the most dangerous weapon China has. Graphite is the primary material for the anode, the negative side of almost every single EV battery on Earth. You cannot make a battery without it. It's not optional. The myth is that China produces a lot of it. The truth? According to data from Benchmark Minerals Intelligence, as of 2025, China doesn't just produce a lot. It produces 100% of the world's supply of spherical graphite. That is the specific battery-grade processed material needed for EV anodes. Not 90%, not 95%, 100%. It is a total, absolute global monopoly. Think about what this means. The entire global auto industry, Volkswagen, BMW, General Motors, Ford, Toyota, all of them run on Chinese graphite. And if you think this is just a business advantage, you are mistaken. This is a weapon. And on December 1st, 2024, China activated that weapon. They didn't announce it on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. They quietly imposed new, strict export restrictions on graphite. They didn't ban it. They didn't need to. They just sent a clear, cold message to the world. You can build your gigafactories in Germany and Tennessee. You can spend billions on new car designs. You can pass all the tariffs you want. But we decide if you get the ingredients. It doesn't matter if you have a blueprint for the greatest car in the world. If you don't have lithium, cobalt, and graphite, you cannot build a single battery. This is the real EV supply chain dominance. The war isn't coming. The war is already over. China's 15-year master plan. So how did this happen? How did the West, with all its economic power, all its intelligence agencies, all its corporations, how did they let this slip through their fingers? It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a free market evolution. It was a plan. It was one of the most patient, brilliant, and ruthless industrial strategies of our lifetime. Let's go back 15 years to the 2010s. What was the West focused on? We were focused on oil, the fracking revolution. We thought we had secured energy independence for 100 years with natural gas. At the exact same time, China was looking at a different future. They launched state-led plans like Made in China 2025. They knew that the future was not combustion, it was electrification. And they knew that to win electrification, you had to control the materials. So they launched a three-pronged strategy. Prong 1, secure the mines. While Western companies were focused on quarterly profits, Chinese state-owned companies were given a different mandate: secure resources, at any cost. They sent their engineers and bankers all over the world. They bought lithium mines in South America. They bought cobalt mines in Africa. They didn't care about the short-term profits. They cared about the long-term China raw materials control. Prong 2, own the dirty work. This is the part the West forgot or willingly gave away. Refining these materials is a messy, chemically intensive industrial process. It creates pollution. It's difficult. While Western nations, including the US and Canada, were shutting down refineries and chemical plants because of strict environmental regulations, China was building them on a massive, unprecedented scale. They were willing to take on the environmental cost in exchange for absolute strategic dominance. They let the West outsource its pollution, and in doing so, the West outsourced its entire industrial future. Prong 3. Innovate at home. China didn't just want to control the materials, they wanted to control the final product. So they poured billions into a protected home market. They subsidized research and development. They funded their universities and their tech champions. And out of that protected ecosystem, giants emerged. CATL dominance is not an accident. The BYD blade battery is not an accident. They are the capstones of a 15-year plan built on a foundation of refined minerals that no one else has. And this strategy wasn't just for batteries. It was for the entire car. The electric motor in an EV runs on high-power, permanent magnets. Those magnets are made from rare earth minerals China. And guess what? China controls 90% of the refining for those too. They control the batteries, and they control the motors. By 2025, when the EU and the US finally woke up and decided they wanted their own supply chains, they made a terrifying discovery. They had no mines, they had no refineries, and they had no expertise. According to the International Energy Agency, the average time it takes for a new mine to go from discovery to production is 16.5 years, 16 and a half years. Even if we started today, we are over a decade and a half behind. You cannot close a 16.5-year gap with a tariff. China didn't just get a head start, they lapped us. A final warning to North America. So let's go back to those tariffs in Brussels. Do you see the panic now? Do you see the desperation? Europe's tariffs are not an act of strength. They are a sign of total strategic failure. The battery technology war is not about the finished car. It's about the ingredients. And while the West is busy arguing over the price of the final cake, China owns the farm. They own the flour mill, and they own the sugar refinery. They control the entire industrial food chain, from the ground to the garage. And if you are sitting in America or Canada, this is not a foreign problem. This is a direct and present threat to our own auto industry. The United States Geological Survey's 2025 report, that's our government. That report states that the U.S. is 100% dependent on imports for the battery-grade graphite we just talked about. 100%. We do not produce any of it. So when China restricts graphite exports, as they did last December, it isn't a warning to Europe. It's a warning to us. It's a clear message that our own factories in Michigan, Ohio, and in Ontario, they only operate with Beijing's permission. This brings us to the final, hard question. The US and Europe are fighting over the price of the final car, but China already owns the entire supply chain that builds it. Do you believe the West can ever build its own independent EV supply chain? Or is this a permanent, fundamental shift in industrial power? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And while Brussels is busy taxing the outside of the car, China has a complete stranglehold on the inside. But there is one new technology that could change all of this: solid-state batteries. A miracle battery that doesn't use graphite. In our next video, we'll investigate if this miracle technology, future of solid-state batteries, is the West's last hope to break the chain, or if it's already too late. Click the video on your screen to watch.